Hi, I'm Diana, registered and licensed dietitian from Diana Savani Nutrition Wellness. I'm here today actually partnering with Hannaford Supermarket to offer you this free video all about how to read nutrition facts labels and what to look for on those labels so that you can support your health long term. As you may or may not know, Hannaford Supermarket hires dietitians to go into stores all throughout New England, and we offer free nutrition education right on the store floor. So if you're ever grocery shopping and finding it a struggle to find healthy foods, or you don't know what to even look for when it comes to shopping for healthy options, that's where the Hannaford dietitians can come in and help you out. So check out hannaford.com/dietitians for more information on where your local dietitian can be found at Hannaford Supermarket. In the meantime, we thought it would be a great opportunity to offer you this free online education, starting with how to read a nutrition facts label. So today we're going to cover 4 pieces of information relating to nutrition facts labels. 1, what is a nutrition facts label and where do we find it? 2, what information does the nutrition facts label provide? 3, what are the differences between the old format and the new format of the nutrition facts label? And 4, what are the most important things to look at on nutrition facts label? Let's get started. What is a nutrition facts label in the first place? I've got an example here for you. This can actually be downloaded right on my website, savanywellness.com. And basically what I have is an example of nutrition facts label. So I'll hold this nice and close so you can see. So a nutrition facts label, to put it simply, is a data center giving us all the information we need to know about the calories, the macronutrients, the micronutrients, all the different nutrition aspects of that food on the label on the package. So again, a data center of information about the nutrition impacts of that food. So where do you find this? Typically, any product that you will pick up at the supermarket will have a nutrition facts label on it. You flip it right over. Here I have the Nature's Promise Ancient Grains and Brown Rice. You flip it over, you see the nutrition facts label here. And again, the data center has all the information you might be curious to learn about that food. You'll notice there are different formats. Got a couple other foods here to show you. This is the Cabot seriously sharp cheddar cheese. On the back, maybe it doesn't look the same as the label I just showed you here, but it provides all the same information. So different layout, but the same data that we can. I'll take you back to this little cheat sheet here that I have for you. So let's take a look. So number 1, it provides the serving size, which is really important to look at because that is basically the amount of that food that you'll eat to get this amount of all those nutrients that it's talking about. So besides the serving size, it also provides us with the calories, which is the energy that the food provides us, the fat and the different types of fats that it contains, cholesterol, sodium, total carbohydrates, which includes the fiber and sugars, whether natural or added, and we'll talk more about that as well, protein, and then different vitamins and minerals. So this is all information you can find right on this tiny little strip on a food package. So again, huge data center, lots of good information there. You might be thinking, what is she talking about? I had no idea there were different formats, and that's okay. It can be confusing, and it's probably not something that the average person would notice just by looking at the packages quickly in the store. So basically, the FDA has provided guidelines for what has to go on the nutrition facts label and how it's formatted. So there are changes coming to that. Now, these changes are actually really beneficial right now because there's some new information coming to the label that wasn't on there before, which provides us with more data to make choices for our health, which is fantastic. I'm going to walk you through some of the changes that you'll see, and then I'll show you the visual close-up so you can see as well. So 1, the serving size on a package is getting enlarged font. So it's going to be easier to find. The calories will be listed in a larger font as well, so easier to see, a little more clear. We have the addition of added sugars. Now, if you talk to any dietitian, I'm sure they will say that this is the most exciting part of the new nutrition facts labels because up until this point, there was no way to tell how many grams of the sugar in the food was coming from added sugar versus natural. Now, I will say that all sugar is broken down in the body in the same way, so it's not necessarily better to eat the natural sugars, but what you'll find in foods that contain more naturally occurring sugars than added, so they're typically less processed and they have more benefits as the whole food. So something like an apple, right? This apple has natural sugars, but if you compare it to, let's say, chocolate chip cookies, maybe they have the same amount of sugar, but this is naturally occurring and it brings along a lot of fiber, vitamins, and minerals, whereas the cookie maybe doesn't. So the whole food is important to consider when you're comparing the sugar content. But now you'll be able to tell how much sugar is being added in there versus what's naturally occurring and bringing along good stuff with it. There's also a change to the vitamins and minerals that are listed on the bottom of the nutrition facts label. And the footnote at the bottom where it tells you what these percent daily values are based off of has been updated. So let's take a closer look at the updates here. And again, this is available on SavaniWellness.com. So you'll see the serving size, a bigger font in the new label here than in the old version. Bigger font for the calories than over here. The added sugar you'll see right there. So you've got total carbohydrates, fiber, and sugar, whereas now it breaks down the sugar and added sugar. And then you'll see the differences in the vitamins and minerals at the bottom as well. So now nutrition facts labels will include the vitamin D, calcium, iron, and potassium on the bottom, which are all really, obviously beneficial for our health, but important ones that a lot of people are looking for on a label. So they make sure that that information is there for you. So I've got the ancient grains and rice here. You'll see that we do have on the Nature's Promise grains pouch the new nutrition facts label, which you can tell because it says added sugars underneath carbohydrates. So if it says added sugars, you know this is the new label. The calories are also bigger, serving size is a little more clear to read. So we've got the updated version on here. Citrus chipotle hummus, one of my favorite flavors, but let's be real, all the flavors are delicious. So you'll notice sometimes the nutrition facts label doesn't look like that long vertical panel that we just looked at a couple times. This one's actually horizontal, but it provides all that same information. Now, since it's kind of hard for you to see on the screen, I will tell you that this one does include added sugars, which it says 0 grams, which is great, but it does include that on here. So even though it's the new nutrition facts label in a small format, it still provides all that information. And you'll see the calories are nice and large there. So now we have the Cabot Seriously Sharp Cheddar Cheese Slices. And you'll see this label is a little more difficult to figure out if it's the new version or the old version. I'll let you take a look there. So you'll see the calories are nice and big, but it does not list added sugars necessarily in the nutrition facts. But I will say that at the bottom, there's a statement that says, not a significant source of trans fat, fiber, total sugars, added sugars, vitamin D, iron, and potassium. So the vitamin D, iron, and potassium are some of the nutrients that are required on that label at the bottom in the micronutrient section. And then the added sugars they're saying is not a significant source here. So while it's not that long vertical format, it does provide all the same information. So that's a great label for getting your data. So this brings me to my last point today, which is what is most important to look for on a nutrition facts label. I will say, while it's important for everybody across the board to focus on a healthy, balanced diet packed with whole grains, fruits and vegetables, lean protein, healthy fats for general healthy living, no one's the same in regards to what they need specifically to manage their health. For instance, you might have high blood pressure. Maybe you're trying to watch sodium content in your diet to manage your blood pressure levels. Maybe someone else does not have high blood pressure, so they're not concerned so much about the sodium in a product, but they have diabetes, so they're worried about the sugar content, protein content, fiber content. So it really depends what specific goals you have and what's most important to look for. But let's kind of walk through what things I look for on a label for general healthy living. So again, the serving size, as I mentioned earlier, is the most important thing to check when you're reading a nutrition facts label, because what happens if you eat 2 times that portion size? Right? The serving size is not necessarily a recommendation or a requirement on how much you're supposed to eat, or that it's not trying to say you're not allowed to eat more than that. But if you eat more than that, you need to double these numbers. If you eat double, if you eat triple that portion, you need to triple them, because these numbers are all based off of 1 serving, which is the portion size they list there. Okay. The next, calories are important if you're trying to lose or gain weight. Calories are basically energy, and if we have more energy coming in than we're expelling through activity throughout the day, that's when weight gain will come on. And if we use more energy than we're taking in, that's when weight loss results. So calories are important if you're looking for weight loss, but I can't stress enough that calories are not something to obsess over. And it's important to look at what else the calories are bringing with them from that whole food, like the vitamins, minerals, the protein, the fiber, all that good stuff. So calories are a useful piece of information, but not the only thing we should look at. Then we have the fat content here. So you can see there are total fat, saturated fat, and trans fat. Now what's important to know about fats on a label is that there's actually a couple other kinds of fats that aren't listed on this one here. They might have seen monounsaturated fats and polyunsaturated fats on a label, which are considered healthy fats. So not all fats are created equal. So saturated fat, if we have too much in the diet on a regular basis, can actually increase our blood cholesterol levels. So that's one that we want to limit, and we want to have it sometimes. It's okay to have in small portions and to have some each day, but we just don't want too much. Trans fat, I will say, is the one nutrient that we really don't need any of. It doesn't have any health benefits whatsoever, whereas saturated fat actually does have some protective benefits for our health. So trans fats I would try to avoid. Saturated fat, again, a little bit is okay. The monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats that aren't listed here, there's actually a trick to find them on a label if they're not listed. Some food companies might actually include them on there. Fish is a great source of healthy fats, but as you'll see, even this label here does not list the mono and polyunsaturated fats. But what do you notice about this label here? So the fat content, total fat is 4.5 grams, saturated fat is 1 gram, and 0 trans fat. So there's 3.5 grams of fat included in that total fat number that are not being accounted for in the types of fats listed below. If that's the case, if the saturated and trans fat do not add up to the total fat number, and you're wondering where are those other fats coming from, the rest is coming from those healthy fats. So even though they don't have to be listed out, they are in there if those numbers don't add up. And then going down to cholesterol, I mentioned looking for healthy options to manage blood cholesterol levels. And you may have noticed in recent years, cholesterol has kind of taken off the list of nutrients of concern. So we don't really, the latest science is showing that we don't really need to worry so much about the cholesterol in our food, but more so the saturated fat in our diet. Saturated fat, when eaten in excess with minimal healthy fats, can lead to unbalanced blood cholesterol levels. But by decreasing saturated fat and increasing those healthy fats, we can improve blood cholesterol levels. Now, if we eat cholesterol in excess on a regular basis, then yes, it can still impact our blood cholesterol levels, but maybe not as much as we typically have thought over time. And then sodium here. Sodium, again, is important for anybody with blood pressure struggles, trying to balance their blood pressure levels. Sodium can increase blood pressure if eaten in excess on a regular basis. And then getting into the bottom half of the label. This is where anyone watching their blood sugar levels wants to focus, because the total carbohydrates is the amount of that food that's going to increase your blood sugar levels. Carbohydrates equal energy and an increase in blood sugar. Okay, not a bad thing. Carbohydrates have a very bad reputation, but they're actually really, really important for overall health. So you want to look at total carbohydrates, and then you've got fiber content. So fiber content actually keeps you full longer. It keeps you more full after a meal, helps with digestion, can help with blood cholesterol levels, and it slows down how quickly your body uses up that food, so your blood sugar is going to be more steady if you have higher fiber. Then we'll get down to the sugars. So again, there's total sugar, added sugar now, which is fantastic. And again, all sugar breaks down in your body the same way. It's all going to turn into blood sugar. The difference is if you're getting a food or eating a food that primarily has natural sugars, you're probably also getting vitamins and minerals, maybe some fiber and other benefits in there. If you're having something like a soda, let's say, where all the sugar in there is added, there's probably not a lot of healthy stuff in there that's naturally occurring, because it doesn't have naturally occurring sugars. It was all manufactured and added in there. So just a more processed option. Again, doesn't mean you can never have it. It just means maybe not as beneficial. And then we get into protein. Now, protein needs vary from person to person. Talk to a dietitian if you're looking for your specific protein needs, but that's where you can find the protein. And then the vitamins and minerals again. These are not all of the vitamins and minerals that are present in the food or that exist, but these are some of the most important ones that we tend to be lacking, and that the FDA felt was most important to get on that label. So vitamin D, calcium, iron, and potassium. And they included the milligram serving. So if you know that you need a certain number of milligrams of calcium each day, you then can easily add them up that way. Or you can look at the percentage, which tells you the percent daily value. And you can find all the information on what the daily values are on FDA.gov as well. So again, FDA.gov has information on the new and old nutrition facts label formats and a ton of other info on these pieces of information. SavaniWellness.com, you can find this 4-page guide to reading nutrition facts labels here. And then Hannaford.com/dietitians, you can find your local Hannaford dietitian, see when they're going to be in the store, and if they're not in the stores right now, you can get their contact information right on the website. So thank you for watching today. I hope that you learned something new and this was helpful for you. Again, put your questions in the comments below. Let us know what you think of the video, and we hope to hear from you soon.